Welcome to ComSpark. My name is Brian Hogan. I'm the President and CEO of Affidance, and I will be your guest host today. Today we are here with Casey Moran, Vice President of Digital Operations at GE. Thank you so much for joining us, Casey. So thanks for joining us here today, Casey.
Thanks, Brian.
So as an IT leader in your company, how do you work with leadership in other functional areas to collaborate and help move the business forward with projects?
You know, it's a great question. I think the role of IT has changed over time. And when I face into those questions or I face into a new opportunity, I really try to understand, is IT an enabler? Is it an order taker? Is it a supplier? Or is it a partner? And the more that IT becomes a partner, the better we are able to answer those questions. And so if I'm an enabler, or if I'm a supplier to that business partner, I have to work really hard to start helping them solve some of those easy to win problems.
Right.
Because that brings me a bigger seat at the table.
Right, some credibility.
Absolutely. And once you get that, then you can move from being I'm here taking your orders to I'm actually helping you set your strategy, because IT and what IT can bring to the table can change the game.
Right.
From a strategy perspective. And so, you know, when I talk to staff about how we're solving customer problems, how we're solving a healthcare problem, I get them excited about finding breast cancer.
Right.
Because it's a common goal. I can get people to think about breast cancer. It's touched almost every person. I mean, it's hard to throw a stone and not be touched by breast cancer.
Right.
So if I can get the team excited about the next Pristina, which is the GE healthcare solution for finding breast cancer, I can walk back into the work that we do day in and day out for solving those business problems. So that's really my approach in terms of moving from a supplier to a partner to a strategist, and working with those different functional areas, whether it's engineering, whether it's finance, whether it's marketing, whatever they're trying to solve.
Right.
I want to understand their problems, make them our shared problems, and come up with a shared strategy.
Got it. So you're understanding their needs, the business's needs, right? And
Absolutely.
at the same time, you're working with your team to get them excited about solving problems for that team.
Absolutely.
That's great. So what advice would you give to organizations that are facing a new set of regulatory compliance requirements?
Yeah, so I mean, GDPR hit I think all companies hard a couple of years ago, and that was with advanced notification, right, of what it was coming and what that meant. You know, when I think about solving some of those SOX compliance, ISO compliance, GDPR, what it takes is a really strong master data management strategy. So you have to crawl back into the bowels of your data and really understand, where does it come from? And then get strong controls around that, because what you can do then is, if you take Oracle HR, common tool, and if you can wrap really strong controls around that from a GDPR compliance, ISO, etc., then you can leverage those as the data gets leveraged throughout the processes, and then you don't have to take as strong controls throughout, because you're leveraging the controls that were already in place. And so when I've encountered that, and we've faced into that in a couple different jobs I've had, I always have to walk back to the origin. Where does the data originate? Who has impact to it? Who has governance around it? Making sure that those controls are as strong as they can be, and then making sure we honor that as that data is manipulated through the various systems and eventually supports an outcome.
So as long as you've got that baseline set of requirements and standards and understanding of the data to begin with, you're in great shape. If a company's just starting that process where they've never really had to encounter this before, I assume the first step is it's a pretty big step. Yeah,
it can be really daunting, because data has been accumulated over time. You can go even to where does your customer database come from, right? And so you really have to crawl back into, where did it originate? What are the controls around it? And if you need to make changes there, great. But you're starting at the beginning. And so if you're just embarking on that journey, getting some really strong data analytics folks on the team, reaching out if you need help with that. That's not everybody's tool or skill set, and that's okay, right? But you have to get folks that are tooled to do that, to help you on that journey.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So Casey, social media and automation has really altered the way customers can engage their. One more time. So Casey, social memedia and automation let organizations alter their customers' experience. So how are you seeing organizations?
I made a mistake this time, so
oh
sorry.
Sure.
I mean,
it's my fault now. So when you're ready from the top, thanks.
So Casey, social media and automation has really allowed organizations to alter the customer experience. So how have you seen organizations doing this?
That's a great question, and I'm super excited about a project we just finished for the Girl Scouts. And I know that this is everyone's favorite time of year because it is Girl Scout cookie season, right? It's hard to go into Kroger's and not get a couple of young folks asking you to buy Girl Scout cookies. I have a tremendous amount of passion around STEM, and some of the stats show that 50% of the women graduating from college, or 50% of the folks graduating from college are women, and 50% are men. Great stats.
Yep.
Represents the demographics of the population. What we're also seeing, though, is 20% of those degrees in the STEM field are going to women, which is super. Which is challenging,
yep.
right? And my daughter in high school is the only female in her engineering class.
Wow. Out of how many students?
There's 1,000 kids in her grade. So the numbers are just staggering. And so I have a lot of passion for bringing in talent and cultivating that at a young age. And so we had an amazing event with GE Aviation and the Girl Scouts in Western Ohio. And we went on site at the GE Aviation location and did a balloon car. And Sharon Kroll and I wanted to take it farther. And so she came in with GE Aviation, a couple of engineers, and my Girl Scout troop, and we recorded a YouTube video, which has been launched in 184 countries.
Wow.
For young people across the world to follow this easy video and make a balloon car. It talks about the design process for engineering. It talks about kinetic and potential energy. And the answers came from these young ladies, these little fourth graders who thought they were movie stars.
Wow.
They just love seeing themselves on social media, and they love knowing that they're making a difference for others. We would have never been able, we could have maybe made VHS videos or
right.
DVDs and
right.
tried to distribute those, but the ability for us to leverage that as a tool for something as easy as the Girl Scouts
wow.
to help evangelize STEM. And I know not all those young people are going to go into STEM. That's okay. What's really important to me is that they know they can.
Exactly. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Super excited about it. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
We got to release the video for them last week, and they just saw themselves on the big screen. And we're actually doing a review this week with one of the local news stations.
Oh, that is way cool.
We're super excited about it. And the girls, like I said, they think they're movie stars, and they know a little bit more about STEM, which is a win-win.
Yeah, get that percentage above 20%.
It'll take some time, but we can do it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and your insights today, Casey. And thank you so much to our listeners. To learn more about ComSpark, go to comspark.tech. This is Brian Hogan. Have a great day.